them out the way.
All right, good afternoon, folks. My name's Gregory Slocum, and we're doing an information workshop today on signatures in lieu of filing fees. And this is in regards to the upcoming municipal election. So before we get started, I want to just take a quick glance at the time periods for signatures in lieu. There's two separate time periods. One's for the mayor and board of supervisors offices. The other is for the city attorney, district attorney, sheriff, and treasurer. As you can see, the mayoral and board of supervisors signatures in lieu period is going to begin earlier, and that's going to start in roughly a month at the end of March. We have some clear objectives today to provide information related to the required number of signatures, to provide information regarding signature gathering, and just to give you some general information as to who may sign petitions. I'm going to have some time at the end of today's program to answer questions. If you're not understanding something, you may ask, but I'll also ask that we keep it within the scope of today's topic, which is signatures in lieu. And if you're able to wait till the end, I'd appreciate it in the hopes that perhaps we answer your questions as we work through this presentation. So just a general question, how many signatures, valid signatures, does it take for you to avoid paying filing fees? If we look on the left-hand side here, we're going to have the elected office, the salary, and then the filing fee. Filing fees are 2% of the salary, and the salary is determined by the Civil Service Commission. You may notice an asterisk in that middle column where the 500 is. That's because the Board of Supervisors have a different filing fee, and that's per the city charter. And to the right of that, you're going to see the number of valid signatures in lieu, and that represents the number of signatures that you would have to have validated or verified by this office, each worth 50 cents. Keep in mind, one of the points I'm going to touch on is that that's the minimum. You probably, if you're trying to avoid paying fees, would want to put in more just because some of them could get rejected, and we'll talk about that more in a moment. These numbers are also in the candidate handbook if you have that. Just some tips and reminders. Some signatures may get rejected over the course of this, so plan accordingly and submit more than the minimum needed if you're intent on avoiding fees. In the event that some of your signatures are rejected, you would have time to pay the remaining fees if you're in that situation. And at the bottom, you'll see that candidates can also make a written request to our office to have signature in lieu signatures, or signature in lieu of filing fee names count towards nomination signatures. So what that means is that if you're running for office, you can potentially have two different petitions you're circulating. One of them is to reduce your filing fees, and that, as we will look back, you could have as many as 10,000 or 7,000, to reduce fees. For a nomination petition, you're only going to need 20. Information on gathering signatures. Who can circulate these petitions and gain signatures? You have to be 18 years of age. Unlike signers, signature gatherers or circulators do not have to be registered voters in San Francisco. No names or addresses may be pre-printed on your petitions. What that means is that if you knew you had a number of supporters, let's say your neighbors in your apartment building or coworkers who you knew without a doubt would sign it, allow them to handwrite in their own information, because if you populated that or typed it, it will be rejected. No ditto marks for voters from the same address. If you had, if you were signing roommates up or family members, you wouldn't want, they have to handwrite their address individually each time it's placed on your petition. And then circulators must complete and sign the affidavit portion of your petition. And we're going to have a look at that in a moment. I've got a scan of a sample petition on here. Info on who may sign. Registered and eligible San Francisco voters. Eligible voters means that the individual who's signing your petition is able to vote for that office. So for the purposes of this workshop, the Board of Supervisors District 3 race would require signatures from voters in District 3, Mayoral races, citywide. Every other office that's going to be on the municipal election is going to be citywide as well. If an individual is not registered and they're a resident, he or she may sign a petition simultaneous to registering. Circulators have 72 hours to submit voter registration cards. If you need voter registration cards to bring with you on a petition drive, contact this office and we'll assist you. And then furthermore, signatures may only be counted towards a single candidate for office. What this means is that we will only count your signature towards one mayoral candidate. If a voter were to sign multiple petitions, we would count their signature on the petition that was submitted to this office first. What does a petition look like? We will assist you in generating this form. We can give you a master copy. Once you have the master copy, you can make duplicates thereafter. Let's see here. You'll see they print their name and sign in the left column. Address will be on the right. The other fields are going to be for our office use, and then the candidate's name would be at the top here, and we will populate that for you. And this is an official form. You'll notice in the top left corner it has to be issued by a staff member, and that's why I put the stampable stamp on this, because I don't want anyone to print it under the auspices that they believe they can use it. On the back side, you'll see the circular's affidavit is at the bottom. This affidavit is going to be just as important as gathering the signatures in themselves. You can have a full page of signatures. If this is not signed and completed, we will not accept it, or it will not be verified towards your signature count. Common reasons for challenged or rejected signatures. The info provided by the voter is inconsistent with the voter registry. That means someone moved, maybe they didn't update their address. Someone got married, perhaps they didn't change their name. And the manner in which they applied their information or signature to the petition does not match their voter registration card. An additional reason would be that the signature that they provide on the petition differs greatly from that on their registration card. The voter fills out their name and address, but they forget to sign, or vice versa. The signer didn't use a residential address on the petition. We have many voters who vote by mail, and they have their residential address and they have their mailing address. Perhaps their mailing address is a P.O. box, or it's a non-residential address. If they were to list that, we couldn't accept the signature. It must be their residential address. Signer must be registered to vote in San Francisco. All fields must be completed, and another reason that it could be rejected or challenged is, as I mentioned before, we cannot accept pre-printed petitions. So how are signatures sampled and verified? We do a random sample, and it's going to be 3% of the submitted signatures, or 100 signatures, whichever number is greater. And they're going to look at that sample set and determine how many are valid. Once they determine how many are valid, they'll take that ratio and apply it to the total number of signatures that were submitted to us. So the example we have here is someone submitted 5,000 signatures. 150 of them are part of the sample group. And through the process of verifying information, this department in this example found that 50% were acceptable. So we take that 50% acceptability rate and we apply it to the total submission of 5,000 signatures. And that would leave the candidate with 2,500 signatures counting against their filing fees. And just some general tips. Provide voter registration cards while gathering signatures. Just because folks, if they move, if they change names, you can update their information. If you get voter registration cards while you're out, we're going to encourage you to submit them with the petitions just so that we can make sure that we update or register the voter in concert with evaluating your petition, that we kind of do one step, two step, and that we're all dancing in synchronicity together. Registration cards need to be returned within 72 hours. That's going to be aside from weekends or holidays, but they need to be brought in here within 3 days if you're registering new voters. And My favorite tip, the biggest tip I'm going to give you, don't wait until deadlines to submit things. When a deadline rolls around, you should be able to relax and know that everything has been taken care of. The sooner you submit materials, the sooner that we can process and review them, and the sooner you'll be on your way. If there's any issues, we will identify them and contact you. And a reminder that the deadline is the last legal possible time to submit things. It's not a suggested or recommended time to submit things. It's the last time we're legally able to accept them. If you need help or guidance, our ability to provide it is going to be limited therein because we're going to be processing things at a deadline. And circulators also have the ability to verify voter registration information on the Department of Elections public terminals. It's going to necessitate you filling out a form to qualify yourself, and we can tell you more about that or assist you with it on an as-needed basis. So there's a few code sections that govern this process that I have listed here. If you had legal questions, if you wanted to look at information in a more in-depth manner than that's been provided here or in the candidate guide, you could potentially look at these code sections for additional guidance. And with that being said, I'm going to open it up for any questions.
You just answered my question about whoever submits their information first.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
same people sign different petitions.
Definitely, and if you have any additional questions, if you take this stuff home later today and you're looking at it and something jumps in your head, please contact us immediately and we'll assist you to the highest of our abilities. The candidate hand guide has a lot of information on signatures in lieu. A lot of these tables that we presented today are present in there. The code sections are present, so if you need a reminder, you can look to that. We have copies of this slideshow if you want it. We'll post it on the web or we'll give you a hard copy.
I like it.
And we've got about a month to go between today and the beginning of signatures in lieu. So as that date comes closer, please contact us if you have any questions.
So you're going to email it to us?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, sure. I surely can. So it's I'm gonna kill the camera here and then.
Yeah, that's why I know.